Hey, what's up, YouTubers, and welcome back to part 11 of my tote diving DVD horror collection. Horror, cult movies, sci-fi, all DVDs. There are no Blu-rays, there's no 4Ks, there's no VHS. It's only strictly DVDs. And today we're going to finish up with the Code Red DVDs. There's quite a stack here. There's actually a couple stacks. We're going to start with those. Got a couple of candles lit. It's 4 o'clock. I don't really care much for this daylight savings crap. It's 4 o'clock p.m. and it's already getting dark outside. Not a big fan of that. I don't want it to be dark at 4 o'clock p.m. It's garbage. But let's think about better things. We're going to go through some movies today, and this is part 11, like I said, and I'm joined by the lovelies, the two babies. So get yourself relaxed, kick your feet up, and let's have a fun video. And before I get started, I just wanted to kind of address some comments, or at least one comment in particular. I don't remember the guy's name. I did not commit the name to memory. I probably won't ever see the guy again. He mentioned that he was kind of liking these videos, but in part 10 he didn't like it because I was reading too much of the synopsis on the back of the movies. So here's what I say to that, and this is to anybody. This is a broad statement to any of the viewers. I've been making videos on this channel. This is not like a rant or anything. This is just kind of like a heart-to-heart with you guys. For about 8 years I've been making videos, and I just kind of do my own thing. I don't follow any formula. I don't have any script. I don't have notes. I don't do any editing. I just do this for a hobby. This is fun to me. So without being disrespectful, because I do appreciate the views and the thumbs up and the comments and all that support, that's all great. But if you don't like the videos that you're watching here on this channel, there are hundreds, there are thousands of other channels that you could easily go to and enjoy that are way better than this channel, trust me. So if you come across videos that you don't care for, it's just go to some other channel and watch. I'm not offended by that. And again, this is not a rant. I'm not angry or anything like that. I'm just kind of putting that out there into the stratosphere so you guys can kind of see where I'm coming from. I don't really need notes. I don't need people to guide me on how to make videos. I've been doing it this way for 8 years now, and it's not going to change. I'm not doing this for a living to make money. This is just a hobby for me. So I make the videos that I like. And if you happen to like that too, that's great. You're more than welcome to join the channel. If you don't like the videos, please, there are hundreds and thousands of other channels. Go find one that you'll like for you. So with that, I feel better talking about that. So let's talk about Girls in Chains. They were abducted and violated. I'm not going to stop reading synopsis about movies. If that bothers you, I'm sorry, but not sorry. All right, so this movie came out in, let me see, I believe this was from the 70s. Code Red put it out in 2008, but I'm not seeing the actual year this was put out. Audio commentary featuring rap star R.A. the Rugged Man. I've never heard of that guy in my life. The only time I ever read that name was on a previous Code Red release, which was a couple videos back. I've never heard of R.A. the Rugged Man. Then again, I'm not a rap fan. I could care less about rap music. In a remote country house, a malevolent form of sleaze and terror is being bred. A crazy mother encourages her two sons, raving lunatic Frank and his not all there brother Johnny, to kidnap young women and chain them up in the basement. So there you go. You're going to get another one of these sleazy movies where you're going to have to take a shower after you watch it. And you can listen to audio commentary by R.A. the Rugged Man. There you go. The next one is one of my favorites, and I know a lot of people don't like this movie, but I really enjoy it. I love the backwoods slasher movies. This is Don't Go in the Woods, the 25th anniversary edition. I have this movie a couple different times, so you may have seen a different edition of this, but this is the Code Red DVD of that. Great cover. Warning, the motion picture depicts scenes of graphic violence. This was a good one. This was directed by James Bryan. I know a few years ago, when I say a few years ago, it was actually probably like 10 years ago. In my world, a few years ago was 10 years apparently. James Bryan was selling some of the original props from this movie. And I was thinking about buying some stuff, but it was pretty expensive. Out of my league, to be honest. But it would be cool to own something genuine from this movie. Everybody who knows me knows that Don't Go in the Woods is one of my favorite horror films, according to Duran Miller, CKY. I'm with you, Duran, whoever Duran Miller is. Another one of the movies in the backwoods where campers are getting slashed by a maniac, a machete-wielding maniac. We've seen that formula before. It says Don't Go in the Woods alone. It's actually Don't Go in the Woods, but sneaked through the R rating in the US, but in the UK was less amused and banned it outright. Wacky and absurd entry from the golden age of slashers. Gets first class treatment on DVD. You got some bonus features. Movie from 1981. Don't Go in the Woods. Next one is called Spasms, starring Peter Fonda, Oliver Reed. I'm a big fan of Oliver Reed. He was a great actor, and he just could not keep it together with the alcohol, and he ended up dying pretty young. You scream, you expand, you explode. You got some pretty good practical effects for the time. This one's an anamorphic widescreen. The movie came out in 1982. There's Peter Fonda and Oliver Reed. It says, on a tiny Pacific island, a number of grotesquely painted natives screech in frenzy as the demon serpent, known as Nagana Simbu, is summoned to appear. With uncontrollable deadly fury, the monstrous snake strikes into the tribesmen, causing death and destruction. When a young scientist imports the snake to his own country, Nagana Simbu finds new victims whose bodies become hideously deformed when poisoned by the snake. Good little horror movie creature feature from the early 80s. The next one is called The Super Weapon, starring martial artist Ron Van Cleef, who, according to this, was a 4-time karate world champion. I did not know that. I knew he was a martial artist. I didn't know he was that awarded or that great at his craft, but apparently he was. And let's see here. This one came out in 1976. Powerful, exciting, action-packed. For the serious martial artist, The Super Weapon is a documentary that boasts no trick photography or special effects. You'll see in great depth the difference between the various kinds of fighting, such as karate, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, tai chi, aikido, and others. So you have Ron Van Cleef, Charles Bonnet, Frank Ruiz, Wilfredo Roldan, And it was co-directed by Jim Sotos. The Super Weapon. Some good 70s martial arts. Here's a 6-pack, Volume 3. I don't know if I have all 3 of these. I can't remember, so I guess we'll find out. But it's 6 movies on 2 discs. You get The Sins of Adam and Eve, Hellhounds of Alaska, Psycho from Texas, Boogie Vision, Gums, and Bad Girls for the Boys. And you can see the original poster art for the 6 movies. See some of the stills. I believe all of these are movies from the 70s. Let's see. The Sins of Adam and Eve, 1972. Hellhounds of Alaska, 1973. Psycho from Texas, 1978. Boogie Vision, 1975. Gums, 1976. And Bad Girls for the Boys, 1966. And interestingly, I didn't know this, Boogie Vision from 1975 was also directed by James Bryan, who we just saw did Don't Go in the Woods. So that's interesting. I didn't even know that till just now. A fun little 6-pack of, I guess, grindhouse style movies that you would probably see in the red light district or something like that. Some of them sound kind of sleazy, some of them sound kind of blaxploitation, but they definitely all do look 70s. The next one is called Stanley. This is the special deluxe edition, and it looks like Alan Alda, but I can assure you that is not Alan Alda. Tim has a pet rattlesnake. When Tim gets mad, Stanley gets deadly. Crown International Pictures. Stanley will make your skin crawl. Leonard Maltin says the movie is Willard with snakes instead of rats. Let's see here. The movie, we've got a PG rating. It's anamorphic widescreen. The movie's from 1972. And you get a nice making of called The Dark Side of Eden, the making of Stanley. It's a retrospective documentary featuring recent interviews with director William Graffet, screenwriter Gary Crutcher, star Chris Robinson, and co-star Steve Alamo. It also contains exclusive behind-the-scenes footage from the director's private archive and photographs detailing the making of the film. And you get a 25 years later Stanley Revisited. I like those. You get Q&A, Stanley Goes to Hollywood, and you get 2 audio commentaries. So this is pretty good. This is a nice addition. If you like monster movies, creature features, this is a good one. It looks really good too on DVD. It looks really crisp and clean. The next one's called Night of the Demon, and this one has the infamous, you know what, he gets his ding-dong ripped off by the low-budget Sasquatch. Like they really went all out to make you see the ding-dong and the ripping off of said ding-dong. And this movie came out in 1984, full screen, unrated edition. I love Bigfoot movies, and this one is kind of middle of the road. It's okay. It says Night of the Demon is the goriest Bigfoot movie ever made. It may be just because of the one scene. There's Maria right there. She is kind of the She's the hostess of a lot of these Code Red movies. Her name is Maria Kanellis, and she was a former WWE diva. She was the 2008 Diva of the Year. She was also in Playboy magazine in 2008. And she was voted number 53 in the 100 sexiest women list. It must have been a long time ago. She was also a celebrity contestant on Celebrity Apprentice with Donald Trump. President Donald Trump is back for more. She's tackling a new deadly arena, hosting B films. She's okay. She's okay as a host. It says this movie was banned in the UK. There was a lot of movies that the UK banned. I'm sure many of you have seen this movie by now, and it's really not that great of a movie. It's okay, but it has one memorable scene. That's what most people remember about that movie. Next one's another slasher film called Marty Gro Massacre. It also has Maria's B movie Mayhem, so she hosts this one as well. That's a great cover. It says name, Nancy Dancer. Measurements 38, 24, 36. Born in Gary, Indiana, December 21st, 1958. Died New Orleans, Louisiana, February 13th, 1978. And that was only the beginning. You can see there that there's some gore scenes. The movie's from 1978. And it is full frame, unrated, 97 minutes running time. It has an on-camera interview with the villain in the movie, William Mezzo, and some Code Red trailers. Marty Gras Massacre. The next one is called The Witchmaker. Their form is human, but they have crossed over. Is this sex after death? LQ Jones presents. Kind of a satanic sexploitation movie. Was death only the beginning? 1969 anamorphic widescreen, rated M for mature. I don't think they had that rating back then, but that's what Bill put on the Code Red release of the movie. You get audio commentary with LQ Jones, who is also a pretty good actor in his own right. And you get a commentary with him and an interview with him as well. Dr. Ralph Hayes is a professor of paranormal studies who leads a group into the Louisiana swamp to investigate a string of murders. His student Tasha is the psychic whose powers have been inherited from her witch ancestors. Hayes believes that witchcraft is the reason behind the murders of the young women, and reporter Victor Gordon is out to cover the story. The trail eventually leads to Luther the Berserk, a sorcerer of incredible powers, who, after drinking the blood of his victims, has the ability to raise the dead in his unholy army of the night. The efforts of the human researchers collide with a supernatural force of evil in this terrifying feature. Next one's a pretty good ghost movie. I like this one. It's the 30th anniversary edition of Ghostkeeper, who is next to become the keeper of the beast that lives on human flesh. The last 15-20 minutes is tense and horrific, treading the middle ground between psychological and supernatural horror. M.J. Simpson, the UK film expert. I'd never heard of M.J. Simpson. So this is unrated. Movie came out in 1980, anamorphic widescreen. Ghostkeeper is strangely satisfying. A trio of friends on a snowmobiling trip is in the Canadian Rockies become lost after venturing up a trail during a snowstorm. They stumble upon a seemingly abandoned hotel lodge and decide to spend the night unaware of the grave danger that they have put themselves in. Who or what is the Ghostkeeper? And will anyone survive the night? Shot in the rugged location of Lake Louise, Banff National Park in Alberta, Canada, the film's stark, icy photography, low-key style, and slow burn sense of dread all add up to a uniquely creepy experience in the old snowbound lodge. I love those kind of movies. Ghostkeeper. The next one is called God's Bloody Acre. I showed this, I think it was on a twin pack. This is also a twin pack, but this one comes with Tomcats. Or did I have I can't remember if I had the standalone maybe of this, and this is the twin pack. From the makers of Night of the Comet and Valley Girl. I don't think I showed this. I'm starting to feel like I did, though. Tomcats. This is the bonus movie. And God's Bloody Acre came out in 1976, and Tomcats came out in 1987. No, that's not right either. Let me see here. The bonus movie, in the mold of Death Wish, 4 crazed Florida psychos rape and kill a young law student sister. Bent on revenge, he takes the law into his own hands, going after the rapist killer one by one in a sinister game of cat and mouse. Tomcats is a violent and offensive actioner with that was advertised as a sex comedy when released by Dimension Pictures in 1976. That doesn't sound like a comedy. So yeah, that was released in 1976. They both were. Wayne Crawford co-stars, and it's from the makers of God's Bloody Acre. So both of these movies were, let's see, directed by Harry Kerwin. Three brothers fanatically devoted to nature attack a construction worker clearing nearby land for a natural park, only for them to cut him in half by accident with a bulldozer. Now that they've shed blood, there's no turning back. It was kind of a hippie tree hugger murder movie, I guess. The next one is called The Black Clansmen. This was the original. I know this was remade a few years ago. This was Ted Michaels directed this one, I believe. Filmed in black and white, like in real life. The most shattering film of our time, filmed in complete secrecy in the Deep South. Obsessed with hatred and revenge, the brother rode with the Klan, even though his color could cost him his life. Yeah, this is a Ted Michaels movie from 1966. Unrated, anamorphic widescreen. I have yet to watch this movie, even though it sounds very interesting to me. I've never watched this, and I haven't watched the remake either. But one day. And the next one is called Rivals. A man who wanted more than a wife, a boy who wanted more than a mother. This little menace from Bad Ronald is back. His new victim, his mommy's new boyfriend. Movie's from 1972. It's an anamorphic widescreen. The same guy who played Bad Ronald stars in this one. In A Twisted Tale, Academy Award nominee Joan Hackett and Scott Jacoby are mother and son who have created a world unto themselves. They share each other's thoughts, and the 10-year-old boy has taken the role of the man of the house. Into their lives comes the eccentric younger man, Robert Klein, right there. Robert Klein, I'm sure you guys know who he is. He and the mother start dating despite their difference in age, and then they marry, much to the horror of the boy. Once they return from their honeymoon, the boy requires so much attention that the new father deserts the family. However, he comes back and reconciles. So the boy then devises a plan to get the mother back and get rid of the new father permanently. Rivals. Okay, so that's one pile. We'll go through the next one here. This is a 5-movie pack here. They're calling this one Maria's Kung Fu Mayhem. So you get the Angry Dragon, Revenge of the Dragon, Dragons Never Die, Fists of the Double K, and the Mandarin Magician. And they even tried to give Maria kind of like the Asian eyes. All right. So, the Angry Dragon came out in 1973. Revenge of the Dragon, 1972. Dragons Never Die, 1974. Fists of the Double K, 1973. I'm not going to read anything about these, just to give the year. The Mandarin Magician, 1974. So some of these are unrated, some of them are rated R. Looks like some of them are also in anamorphic widescreen. And they are all in English dub. So we'll just keep moving. The next one's a double feature of The Being, a sci-fi monster movie starring Martin Landau, and the other one's called Cop Killers. So let's see here. There's Ruth Buzzy. I really like Ruth Buzzy. She's been going through some serious health issues in real life, and she's getting up in age. It's sad to see. I love Ruth Buzzy. She's great. It's a strange creature roams and kills people in the small town of Pottsville. And Cop Killer. Let's see here. So The Being came out in 1981, and Cop Killers came out in 1973. Alex and Ray are two happy-go-lucky drug runners. When a drug deal goes bad, they wipe out 4 cops and are on the run. They also kidnap an innocent girl and will kill any cop in their path. Their spree of carnage and violent madness also takes a toll on a demented, perverted ice cream man they encounter. Wow, that whole thing just sounds really weird. They're calling it 70s cheese exploitation with no regard for human life. From the people who brought you the X-rated Alice in Wonderland, Night Patrol, and Flesh Gordon. Special makeup by Rick Baker, who did American Werewolf in London, The Howling, Michael Jackson's Thriller, among others. He was a genius. And you also get audio commentary with the star Jason Williams, who was one of the killers. Next one is another double feature, martial arts. Master Lee's Drunkard Cinema, Volume 1, Challenge of the Dragon, and the Needle Avenger. I think, let's see. I was going to guess that these were from the late 60s, but at the bottom it says 1981, but that can't be right. Maybe it is. I don't know. But you know, kung fu and martial arts movies, they're fun, but I have to be in the mood for those as well. But if I am in the mood, I can sit and watch all day, you know, like a marathon of martial arts movies. But it's not very often that I do that. Next one is a double feature called Encounter with the Unknown, narrated by Rod Serling of Twilight Zone fame, and Where Time Began. This is a really good double feature. It's called Exploitation Cinema. Two Lost Ultimate Saturday Matinee Classics. Encounter with the Unknown. Rod Serling TV's Twilight Zone phones in a shocking trilogy of UHF television level thrills. A curse hits 3 frat kids when a homicidal mother decides they are responsible for her son's death. And this prophetic mother won't stop until she gains her twisted vengeance. Each frat boy meets with the most painful death that you will encounter in a family film. An inbred boy's dog falls into the pits of hell, and it's up to his uncle/dad, Jesus. Standout performance by Robert Holton to go down to investigate. Watch out when he returns. Third, an unsuspecting driver picks up a lost girl, Rosie Holitik, from Don't Look in the Basement and Horror High, only to learn that she died years before, featuring box office champ Bill Thurman, Gator Bait, outrageous funny man Gene Ross, and comedian Charlie Dell and Robert Ginnivan as the business class riding priest, movie from 1973. And Where Time Began is a British sci-fi movie from 1978. The next double bill is called Probability Zero with the great Henry Silva. This is a pre-apocalyptic collection. It's a Dario Argento double feature. It also has Lee Van Cleef and Sullivan's Marauders. A couple of action movies by the great Dario Argento. Well, let's see. On the back here it says it was directed by Armando Crespino. It was written by Dario Argento. Both of these were written by Dario Argento, not directed by. It says horror icon Dario Argento wrote this World War II action film set in Norway. And from the mind of Dario Argento and Menahem Golan comes a lean, mean war film. Tough Sergeant Sullivan, played by Lee Van Cleef, puts together a group of Italian Americans in disguise as Italian soldiers in order to infiltrate a North African camp held by the Italians. A couple of World War II action movies written by Dario Argento. Next one is another double feature called The House of Insane Women and The Night of 1,000 Cats. I thought Night of 1,000 Cats was pretty good. It's been a while since I watched it. House of Insane Women was also known as The Exorcism's Daughter. And let's see here. So The House of Insane Women from 1974 and The Night of 1,000 Cats, 1972. The next twin pack is some, I guess, sexploitation, cheesy, I guess, horror movies. You got it's a vampire double feature called Cemetery Girls with Paul Naschy and Vampire Hookers. Twice the vamps, twice the bite. Cemetery Girls, they rise at night for more than a bite. Crazed women desperate for satisfaction. And Vampire Hookers. Warm blood isn't all they suck. Jeez. I'm sorry you guys had to hear that. So Cemetery Girls, also known as Count Dracula's Great Love, stars Paul Naschy. And Vampire Hookers, also known as Cemetery Girls or Sensuous Vampires, stars John Carradine. The next one, I thought it was a pretty good movie, but the quality on this was really bad, and I think it's because there wasn't really a good print for this one. I don't know if there ever will be. And like some of the picture was good, and then some was really bad, but I think that's all they had. This is called The Curious Case of the Campus Corpse, from the producer of Freddy vs. Jason. But this is a movie from the 70s, 1977. It was a Code Red picture in conjunction with Shriek Show. And they put this out in 2008. And it's just a, it's a school campus murder mystery slasher movie. That cover is kind of creepy. The next one is Killer's Delight, first time on DVD. It was also known as The Sport Killer, based on the exploits of serial killer Ted Bundy. And this one is unrated. It's an anamorphic widescreen. And it came out in 1977. This is another Code Red Shriek Show that was put out in 2008. Next one is a pretty good double bill. Here you get Mausoleum, and you get Blood Song. Frankie Avalon. So, Mausoleum is in anamorphic widescreen. They both are. Oh no, I'm sorry, I take that back. So Mausoleum is anamorphic widescreen and Blood Song is full screen. Blood Song came out in 1982 and Mausoleum came out in 1981. There's some good people in here though. Frankie Avalon, Donna Wilkes, Richard Jekyll. He always kind of played he was always kind of a tough nose. He was either like a cop, like a straight-laced cop, or sometimes he would play a bad guy too. And the last one for the Code Red stuff is called Quadroon, the Black Mandingo. So she's a quarter black, she's 3/4 white, but she's all woman. Now, the shocking truth about the passion slaves of 1835 New Orleans rips the veil of secrecy from history's strangest chapter. I've never watched this. I still have never watched this movie. I don't know if I ever will. It's really not my thing. I picked it up just because it was a Code Red title. So the movie takes place in 1832 New Orleans. It says, this might mean something to you guys. I really have no like at all for rap music, but it says, see the movie rappers have been sampling since the 80s. Anamorphic, widescreen, unrated. Came out in 1971. So I'm going to pause it here, put some of this stuff away, and then we will continue. I think there's some anchor-based stuff I can show you guys. Okay, so continuing on, we have some more DVDs here, a couple piles, and I do have 2 Blu-rays I'm going to share with you guys at the end and recommend a couple movies to you guys. The first one here is called Slayer. Has Casper Van Dien in it. Has a slipcover. Loads of blood, a much appreciated new spin on vampire mythology. I thought this was pretty good. This is a pretty good movie. Let me see here. Hold on. Take my glasses off. I can see better close up without my glasses on. So this is a movie from 2006. This is the unrated edition, 87 minutes. It's a vampire movie that takes place in the deep South American rainforest. There's Casper right there. He was a pretty good action hero guy. I think he's still making movies. I'm not sure. But I remember this was pretty good. Slayer. The next one is the original Children of the Corn, Stephen King's adaptation. And this is a really good movie. Going back to my childhood on VHS watching this movie. It really freaked me out when I was a kid. The original movie came out in 1984. It had Peter Horton and Linda Hamilton. They were a great couple, I thought. And the kids, the guys who played kids in the movie, one of them, I think it was Isaac. He looked like a kid, but he had some kind of a disease that he was an adult, but it made him look like a kid. And then Malachi was his kind of his right-hand man. And they did the bidding for He Who Walks Behind the Rose. And they had a whole bunch of sequels to this, and some of them were all right, I guess, but the original was really good. I don't really think they needed a sequel to this, but they do. The next one is the original, The Wicker Man. This is good. This is one that stars Christopher Lee, Edward Woodward, and Brit Eklund. The remake was pretty good too, with Nicolas Cage. And like I said, this is the original that came out in 1973. There's Brit. Witty and scary, no one who sits through it to the end is likely to find it easy to shake off. It says this is the American theatrical version of the modern horror masterpiece. Brit Eklund, Diane Salento, and Ingrid Pitt co-star in this provocative shocker, written by Anthony Schaefer. This one has some pretty good special features too. There's a bunch of interviews with all of these stars. Edward Woodward, Christopher Lee, Ingrid Pitt, the director, producer, writer, editor. Christopher Lee as Lord Summerisle. Next one is a Dario Argento movie from the Dario Argento collection called Deep Red. This is an underrated movie. It's really good. I think this was the first Argento movie I ever watched. That was a long time ago. I put this one in a red case. I think it just looks good like that. But this was one of the first Argento movies I watched, and this was back when I was trading VHS tapes through the mail. I got a bunch of these Italian horror movies a long time ago. The movie came out in 1975. And this was my first taste into like the giallo realm, and I've been hooked ever since. This is a great movie. Soundtrack by Goblin. It says portions of the English soundtrack were either never recorded or lost. Therefore, these scenes are presented in Italian with English subtitles. But this is one of the Argento movies I never really hear people talk about, and this is it's a shame because this is a really good movie. If you haven't seen Deep Red, do check it out. The next one is a 2-disc set of House and House 2. William Cat George Wendt, Richard Mall, who just recently passed away. These are pretty fun movies. I thought the first one was better. Second one was still pretty fun. These were directed by Sean S. Cunningham, I believe. Let me double check that. No, it was produced by Sean S. Cunningham and directed by Steve Miner. That was part 1, and then part 2 was produced by Sean S. Cunningham of Friday the 13th fame, and part 2 was written and directed by Ethan Wiley. Part 1 is rated R, part 2 is PG-13. That may be why House 1 is better. I don't know. It had a better story, I thought. That monster was really cool. So this is a 2-disc set, and it comes on a swing tray. And you get an insert here. You get an insert for each of the movies, a chapter stop. Make sure we don't bend that up. Yeah, these are fun movies. Next one is another Giallo movie from the Giallo collection called The Bloodstained Shadow. I put this one in a yellow case. It also would have looked good in a red case, but for some reason to me the yellow just looks a little bit better. This one was directed by Antonio Beto, and it came out in 1978. It was kind of toward the tail end of the great Giallo phase, or the Giallo era. I didn't realize how long this video already was, so I think after this edition here I'm going to cut the video off, and I'll upload it, and it's going to be like around the 50-minute mark or so, maybe a little bit more. I don't want to go much longer than that. This is a beautiful edition of Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and I really thought this movie was very good. It was very well done. It's kind of set in the style of a documentary of a serial killer, and the cameraman kind of follows the life of a serial killer, and it comes in this really nice kind of a digipack slipcover, and then there's the movie in the case. And I know a lot of people dislike this movie, and I don't know why. I think it's very well done. It's a good slasher movie. It has Robert Englund in it. Also has Zelda Rubinstein right there. You guys may recognize her. It says it's a lot cleverer than Scream. Is that even a word, cleverer? I never heard that before. This movie came out in 2007. Hard to believe it's already 16 years old, going on, it'll be 17 years old here in a few months. Unbelievable. I can't believe how fast time is going, man. Here's the special features. And again, this is another one I really recommend. If you haven't watched it, give it a shot. It's kind of a dark comedy horror movie, but it's something that's really never been done before, and I thought it was pretty clever. So I think we're going to end the video here, guys. I'll show you some other stuff in the next video, and stay tuned for the coming up weekend. As I'm recording this now, it's Tuesday, the 7th of November, and this coming up weekend in a few days I will upload my latest update video, some of the new pickups I have. Kind of piling up, and they're starting to get, the pile's starting to get high, so it's high time I make a video. So Miss Heidi just jumped down, but that's my bestie right there. Where I go, she goes. She's been a good friend to Toddy Walnuts. So thank you guys for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Later.